Greetings. Peace be with you. So, a couple of days ago, I sent out a survey about a new workshop that I'm hosting. And in fact, you can get access to it by clicking the link below in the description. And the question that I asked so many of you was, what is your number one struggle with being productive and staying focused? And across the board, the number one answer that I got for this question is procrastination. Now, I understand that all of us struggle with procrastination, and all the research points to the reality that to some extent, of course, there's a trajectory, we all delay things into the future, which is literally what procrastination means, right? To delay things into the future. But what if I told you that procrastination is not your problem? Okay? Procrastination is the symptom of your problem, and your problem is a root cause, which is really a lack of clarity. Okay? A lot of us tend to use nominalizations. Slipping on my words over here. It's called a nominalization, where we turn a verb or an adjective into a noun. For example, I am a chronic procrastinator. That is identifying as someone as a procrastinator, but you are really just engaging in the act of procrastination. So you do not procrastinate when you are doing something like playing a video game or watching TV or doing something that you like. You don't procrastinate on the things that you are currently doing, right? So procrastination is really not the problem. The problem is motivation. Now, again, this is a very important concept to understand, because so many of us have our minds twisted thinking that motivation is about getting hyped up and getting inspired and feeling this divine spark of energy that makes us do the thing that we know we're supposed to do when we don't feel like doing it. But motivation is nothing more and nothing less than your motive for action. It is the reason behind why you do what you do, right? Whatever it is that you do, you are motivated to do that thing. When you procrastinate on launching your business, when you procrastinate on going to the gym, when you procrastinate on whatever it is that you are delaying, you are motivated to do that thing. You are motivated to procrastinate. And when you address the root cause, which is crystal clarity around what it is that you actually want, and you construct a plan that gives you clarity on how to get from where you are to where you want to be, right? It's about that super simple step that is in front of you right here, right now. So many of us focus on the end goal. We focus on climbing Mount Everest rather than just taking that next step in front of us and then taking the next step after that. And the reason for this is because we set our goals so big. And it's amazing to have a grand vision and a grand ambition for your life, because that will be like the compass, that will be like the direction. But when your focus is on the end goal, then you have attachment to that end goal. And when that end goal is too big, you get overwhelmed, and then you are more likely to succumb to distraction. You are more likely to succumb to procrastination and engage in another behavior that gives you that instant spike of dopamine. Okay? But when you have clarity on what that next super simple step in front of you is, then it is way easier to just go ahead and take that super simple step, regardless of how you feel. Okay, if you want to become a pro at life, okay, what's the difference between a pro and an amateur? An amateur acts based on feelings and emotions and circumstances and situations that he finds himself in. A pro acts on commitments. Okay, when you make the commitment, it's very different than saying you're going to do something, because with the commitment, there is no other option other than following through on it. Okay, maybe you have not made a commitment to yourself in a long time, where you said you're going to do something, but you didn't follow through, and therefore you lost your word to yourself. And that is really a deeper root cause, which is you building self-confidence by doing what you said you were going to do. And of course, we might be in a spot like I was a while back, not too long ago, where I had lost self-respect, where I had lost self-confidence, where I had broke my word to myself too many times. And therefore, anytime I would say I'm going to do something, I would procrastinate on it. But again, the root cause is a lack of clarity on the super simple step that lies in front of you. And that is exactly why I am hosting the Find Your Focus workshop. You can click the link below to get access to it, to save your seat for this live workshop. It's because once you have a one-page plan that gives you clarity around your priorities, and this is the most important thing, that leaves no space for laziness, procrastination, distraction, because you have clarity and you set the timer and you either focus on doing the work, the super simple step that is in front of you, or you just sit there and get bored. And more often than not, maybe you sit there for a couple of minutes. Eventually, doing the work is less boring than just sitting there and doing nothing. And that is the magic of having a one-page plan, because we are always exposed to more information than we have the capacity to process. And when there is too much information, that leads to overload, which leads to overwhelm, which leads to the subconscious inclination to begin seeking out distraction, because again, we do not have clarity on that next super simple step. Okay, motivation is about your reason for behaving a certain way. And once you build the reasons for doing the right thing over the easy thing, once you have a plan for how to proceed towards the life that you want, that is when you can overcome the default setting, the autopilot mode of doing what's easy, because you know the right thing. Okay, I hope I am communicating myself effectively, because this is something I took a long time to understand, thinking that if I'm inspired, I'm going to do the work. If I'm not, I'm going to go do something else. But really, it's about having clarity, because with clarity comes the power for execution, for follow through. Okay, again, so many of us procrastinate because either our goals are so big that we get overwhelmed and then we just succumb to something else that is easier to do in the moment, or our goals are so small that we're like, oh, we'll just get around to them later, right? The sweet spot, the Goldilocks rule of setting goals, is something that has the vision on the big picture, but breaks that down into the super simple step that is right here, right now, in front of you, that is simple to execute and easy to follow through with. And that is exactly what you will build when you follow through with the workshop. Okay, so we will be going live next week. You can get the details by clicking the link below in this video. We will be going through the Q&A. I will be coaching you on how to construct your 90-day plan that gives you that clarity, because we are now nearing the end of quarter one of 2021 at the time of this recording. And once you begin living your quarters, right, setting goals for your quarters and optimizing them, that is when you have the opportunity to accomplish more in 90 days than most will in a year, than you probably did in a year. Because with clarity, okay, 85% of success, according to Brian Tracy, who is a personal development and productivity expert for, I think, over 4 decades at this point. He's like 85% is really clarity, because once you know what the most important thing to do is, then you don't need to rely on motivation so much. You don't need to rely on inspiration so much. All you need to do is put one foot in front of the next one and continue doing that until eventually you get to a point where you're like, oh, I'm on top of Mount Everest right now. And how did you get there? You got there one step at a time. The path to getting everything that you want in your life is getting one thing at a time. So stop overwhelming yourself. Join the Find Your Focus workshop. Build that one-page productivity plan. Get that clarity and begin accomplishing more while stressing less. Okay, so again, this is a live workshop. You can click the link below in the description, or you can go to findyourfocusworkshop.com, and I hope to see you on the inside. Much love to you. Take care, and I will leave you in the peace and power of the one infinite creator.